6,577,510.43. What's up, guys? Jason here, aspiring entrepreneur, showing you the day in the life of a budding aspiring entrepreneur trying to build his business and hopefully get funded. So in this particular beautiful Friday in Washington, the sun is actually out. Really cool. I don't have to set up lights and stuff to, so you can see me. Anyway, got a relatively mediocre day here. Just got some meetings. Hopefully I've got a new client call at 11. Hopefully they show up. It's amazing how many people don't show up when you get those set up those phone calls, especially the ones that reach out to you. Think they'd be like, oh yeah, they reach out to me, maybe they'd pick up the phone. No, they just don't show up, and then you never hear from them again. But that's okay. That's beside the point. And then I got a meeting with a co-founder later. But before I jump into work and AdWords accounts and PowerPoint presentations for the day, I wanted to share with you something pretty weird and shocking that I learned last night. And this was doing my routine scrolling through my Facebook feed. I clip all the ads. If you are a fellow entrepreneur, that means you're eventually going to have to market yourself. Highly recommend going through your Facebook feed and just clipping ads left and right. I mean, that's pretty much all I do. I just have a little screenshot software, and I just clip until I run out of ads or it's been 10 minutes, whichever comes first. And of course, going through your Facebook feed, how could you not get distracted, right? So I got distracted on something Perry Marshall posted the other day that was a detailed history of Napoleon Hill. And I thought, wow, this would be pretty cool, because I'm a big fan of Think and Grow Rich. In fact, I have meticulously highlighted this entire book. Let's just go to another random page here. Yeah, there you go. I mean, I color-coded this, and just to brag, I had my own table of contents. So if I needed to recall something or look up a specific subject, or I was dealing with a specific problem, I could go to here and find exactly how Napoleon Hill would think to apply his methodology to that situation. Pretty cool, right? Also very, very nerdy. I probably should have been watching Netflix or something. I don't know. Actually, Netflix didn't have streaming when I did that. But anyway, that's beside the point. This article, which I will link to below, took me about an hour and a half to read, and mostly because I was just shocked, and I couldn't, and it's hard for me to speed read on a screen. Long story short, the dude's kind of a fraud. He has the muckiest track record ever. I could probably, go on for 20 minutes, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I just want to start with the fact that there is no evidence, historical evidence, that he ever met Andrew Carnegie. And if you're not familiar with, the background of this, essentially, he said that Andrew Carnegie was the one who commissioned him to go meet all these famous people and come up with their formula for success. So he was supposed to dissect John D. He doesn't claim to have met Rockefeller, but he does claim to have met Ford and Edison. Edison is true, but they met for 5 minutes, so that doesn't really count. But there's no historical evidence that he ever even knew Andrew Carnegie, who was the world's first billionaire. If you don't know who he is, he made the U.S. steel industry. And if you're familiar with John D. Rockefeller, he was like Rockefeller's nemesis or competitor. They were just, one was in steel, one was in oil, and they were just trying to beat each other in terms of who was richer. And of course, J.P. Morgan came along and purchased Carnegie's steel empire for an astronomical amount of money, making Carnegie, the first billionaire and richer than Rockefeller. Of course, later on, Rockefeller, took over once his companies were all broken up. But that's beside the point. This book is completely fictitious. He did not meet any of the people he supposedly based these things on. So the best way to think of this book is like the clickbait of the 1930s. So I don't want to waste too much more time on that, but I think the most important lesson I personally learned is, number one, research the background of authors. Even though, I can't count how many friends and mentors I had when I first, got into this whole entrepreneurial space that said, this was the book, because I always like going to the source. And so pretty much the entire personal development industry is based on this. Does that mean the whole thing's bunk? No, I'm sure there's some guru out there who has a very good, well researched method of thinking, but this isn't it. So today, I'm throwing out Think and Grow Rich. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Of course, I will link to the article I read below if you can think more, but I highly encourage you to throw this guy out and then do an audit of the books you've been reading, and start with people instead of books the next time you go to you browse Amazon or go to one of the few Barnes and Nobles that are left, and look at who wrote the book as opposed to who's telling you this is a great book. Because I think one of the things we can all do better is doing our own research into who we listen to. I mean, I spent a lot of time. I still remember that number, 6,577,510.43. That was my number. You were supposed to have that number. You had it. I had it on a little card. I had it in my car. I would repeat it to myself every day. It's still ingrained. I mean, I can say it over and over again. It drives my wife crazy. I don't do it anymore because obviously he's, I don't know. But anyway, so just want to share that with you. Link in the description below. I know I said that already. And time to get to work. Super cool. Pretty much out of the blue, got a sales call for a new client, potentially helping them go to market with a software for investment advisors. So really excited about that. Didn't get a commitment. It happens with sales calls, and I'm not exactly the best on the phone. I always get nervous and talk over people. That's one of the tips I've learned, is just shut up and listen, and then you can say one or two things and provide value and understand what they actually need. So I just wanted to pause my AdWords marathon for this morning, and had really cool. I mean, he didn't confirm it, but he called up, had a good conversation, and I always get pumped when I get to talk to fellow entrepreneurs, even if they decide not to hire me. But we'll talk to them in a month, see what happens. So back to work. What's up, guys? Just taking a little breather here outside. Just got back from on my way home from the library, picked up another book, was going to return an audiobook, but then I left the last CD in my CD drive, because I was ripping the audio to listen to it again later. So that's a little frustrating, but I had a nice little surprise this morning with a random person calling me about some possible business. Of course, he did say he'd get back to me in a month, so that's it's less than 50-50 at that point, but that's okay. Got some experience talking on the phone, and hopefully delivered some value to him no matter what he decides to do. So now it's off to find a conference room and jam a little bit with one of my co-founders. We're still hashing out those financials. He sent me notes this morning. I totally screwed up the time. I mean, working with people in different time zones, even if it's just a couple of hours, just always throws me for a loop. We were supposed to meet at 1. Of course, that was 1 his time, not 1 my time. So early this morning, he's like, hey, where are you? I'm like, what are you talking about? So luckily, he was able to reschedule. So we're going to go do that and then see if I get to work on some more content for the YouTube channel, or if he's going to give me a bunch of homework that is going to take up the rest of my night. Of course, then I have another co-founder who has more stuff for me to review and read. It's just an endless hamster wheel. And this is just what it looks like. You get little breaks like this where I can talk to you guys, walk to the library real quick, and then it's back to staring at the computer. Get some sleep, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye. All right. Nice, productive meeting. I think we are really, really close. Putting together this stuff is hard. I had a mentor of mine one time tell me done is better than perfect, and as a type A OCD person, not having every I dotted and every T crossed is really hard, especially when it comes to the numbers. But we've reached the point where
we just got to finish it. You know, even if it's crummy, and even if it doesn't, it's something that's going to have to be changed as we keep going. It's something, you know, you just got to finish it sometimes, and put it out there. And if people tell you it sucks, then you can go and take all that time to fix it. But until that happens, you know, you don't know if it's how terrible it is. You don't know if, you know, what you've already put together is already good enough, because you haven't had feedback. So that's whether you're going to go try and pitch to investors, or you're creating a product that you're, you know, going to sell direct to, you know, fellow business owners or consumers. You know, it's really easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis and trying to get perfection. But at some point, you just got to say, just do it, throw it out there, see what happens. Worst comes to worst, they tell you it sucks. You know, your customers tell you your product sucks and you need to work more. Otherwise, you know, you find out that, hey, I you know, launched, and then everything you do after that is just gravy, right? Then your customers are happy that you keep adding value because you have all these great ideas, but you at least got to start. And I guess that's one of the biggest struggles of today, is figuring out where you draw the line between, you didn't really try, and okay, we just got to get this thing out there. So walking back home now, going to eat some dinner, and then it will be back to some more business plan review. Woo. All fueled up, ready to go. Got my cup of decaf coffee here for another crazy Friday night, diving into PowerPoint presentations, writing content for some YouTube videos that are coming out next week, and of course reviewing some business plan documents from my co-founder. So that does it for today. Oh, wait, one more thing. There we go. Just needed to get rid of that book. So keep building the business you love. I've got to get back to work. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.